Let's go into picks and bans for game number 2. I love that you're ready to go since you're chair 2 informing.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm getting down all my analysis, all my notes down over here so that I can bring the top tier analysis for you. I know that you're going to ask this since I'm mostly chair 1 here, but what should they make adjustments should they make here in game 2? I'm sure that's where you're going.
Yeah, so what adjustments should they make in game 2 then? That's what I would ask as a chair 1 here.
Well, it felt like they went into this mage solo lane thing and maybe even got a little bit baited into that. It was like the Okudok pick, I liked it. It didn't quite work out for them, right? So maybe get that adjustment, get Divios on something that he can hard carry with and actually run to the back lines and not get blown up immediately over. I would like them making an adjustment there. Obviously, try and get Answer on something that's less pressure, that Mercury really was kind of just running the team fights for them. Try and maybe make an adjustment there. Or maybe try and keep Answer down a little bit going into this next game.
Could be. I think Cyno did a pretty good job of that with the Erlong Shen. Actually soloed Andy pretty late into the game, showing the power of that Erlong Shen jungle, but same exact picks and bans thus far. Chang'e locked in here for Spacestation Gaming. Again, until you beat it, until you prove that you can, we're going to keep picking it. And this time, Splyce doesn't beat around the bush any longer. They go straight to that Odin selection. I think Odin Cerberus could be the call here. Maybe even Odin Erlong Shen. If you're on Splyce, are you worried that SSG is going to take away this Erlong from Cyno?
I might be a little bit because it's something that Cyno plays a ton, right? They clearly like this Erlong pick, but I don't know if they necessarily want to play it themselves. So maybe if you can get it before that second ban phase, then you should still be able to grab that pick. And Spacestation might ban it, but I'm not so sure that they would play it. But I like this way better. Seeing the Odin pick up, very likely going to be going over to the solo lane, I would imagine. A good matchup in the Chang'e. Similar to what we thought with the Cerberus, but then they went with the Ra instead and played that over there. So hopefully this Odin will work out a little bit better for them. Jingwei coming through. We know BaRRaCCuDDa loves to play that.
He does. A Jingwei main in his own right, though. That might not sit well with everyone in the pro community. If you're familiar with what PBM's been tweeting, you'll know what I'm referring to. Naja, the selection this time. No Erlong Shen for Cyno this time, but instead that Naja has that all-in potential, but is that what you want against a Chang'e that can easily immune the ultimate or the sash, whatever?
Yes, I like this one. I don't know that it's necessarily for the Chang'e in particular. He can still provide pressure, I think, on the solo lane if he can get the cooldown forced out from earlier, like the CC immunity, then he can come in and follow up on it relatively easily, since that's basically the only way Chang'e has to get out of it. And this is a very Cyno pick, right? Cyno very much likes to play the Naja. He likes to play high pressure. We saw him diving the backline. He can do this a little bit easier now on the Naja pick, perhaps than on that on the Erlong Shen. So if he does want to play that same style, Naja might do it even better.
That's a great point. Also applies Brawler's Beat Stick very easily with that Universe Ring Toss. Something to keep in mind when you're playing against healers is how easily you can apply those anti-heal items, as SSG goes for some Hunter bans, looking at CycloneSpin, Hachiman, and Neath taken off the table. Splyce split the difference between the jungle and the mid, between the Circuit and the Giannis bans.
That's another thing to keep in mind with the Jingwei pick. Not only is it something BaRRaCCuDDa loves, but that's part of where CycloneSpin likes to go with the Hunter pool, right? It's not particularly vast so far. He likes the Neath, he likes the Jingwei, and likes some other weird picks. So pick Jingwei for yourself, ban away the Neath, limit some of his options, and take this Scylla. It's one that not only they like to run, but there's a chance you can kind of limit it. Already have the Discordia on the side of Splyce, but this is what they would have liked in game 1, and Splyce took it away from him.
Ooh, the Susanoo final selection here for andinster. I think this is an awesome pick. It can get out of Odin Cage. Jetstream does get you between the Ring of Spears and can teleport you out of there.
Because they're rings, you can just go right through.
Right, the air just passes through.
Yep,
yeah, makes total sense. That's just that's how physics works, everyone. Come on, keep up. Final selection now for Splyce will be in the ADC role, and Hu-Yi follows up beautifully off that Odin Cage. I think this is a pretty good duo lane that has kill potential, even against something like a Jingwei, but especially a Sylvanas that can punish someone as immobile as a Sylvanas with the constant slows and the roots and the stuns that Kumba and Hu-Yi can provide. Finch, who you liking here in this game? This is the first time you have to answer one of these questions.
That's right. You're putting me on the spot here now, Aggro. I really like Splyce's composition. That's how I felt in game 1, right? I liked their team fight, I liked their composition. The problem is it's so hard to vote up against Spacestation, especially when they're on so many comfort picks. JeffHindla plays a lot of Sylvanas. BaRRaCCuDDa is so comfortable on the Jingwei. I really find myself leaning a little bit towards that, especially with the double sustain. They're very much going to be reliant on this Odin pick, and if it's not perfect, Spacestation are going to punish.
That is the question. Can Odin be enough to shut down Chang'e? We've seen it before. Since Chang'e has kind of risen back to prominence, Odin wasn't enough. We'll see if it is this time around. Wait, did you even give me a definitive answer, or did you snake out of that?
No, I said Spacestation.
Oh, you said Spacestation. Okay, good. Sorry, I kind of stopped listening to you there for a second. All
right, that's classic Chair 1 move.
Chair 1.5 Tom and the other Chair 1.5 Anatoly.
Thanks a lot, Ryan Aggro Bailey and Mr. John Finch. It is me indeed, Anatoly Alexeynok, right next to F. Tom Banninger.
There you go. There you go. I wasn't sure if you were going to pronounce my name right.
I got you.
Yeah, it's funny. Funny how this one works. Chang'e, first pick, responded to by an Odin first pick. Is it enough to take advantage, though?
Aquarius has faced this Odin before. He's not worried at all. Not only did he face an Odin before, but it was an Odin with an Achilles. And he survived multiple engagements.
You know, I made a face just because I expected you to set me up for something good, but Achilles versus the Chang'e, you heal up out of the execute threshold.
It's not even that. He was in an Odin cage while the Achilles was right next to him.
Well, you use your immunity to avoid this stuff.
Yeah, but he's eating a bird bomb damage on top of it. He can't heal during
You
that
ult?
whole encounter and stuff. Yeah, he did ult. He had to play it perfectly, and he barely survived. It was beautiful.
Anything is possible here. Just reminding you guys to stay positive. But if your car is a little bit wet, don't forget you guys can get involved. I got nothing. I just wanted to make fun of aggro. 0-0, starting off nicely. Spacestation versus Splyce here. Cyno on the Naja is a bigger deal to me than the Odin. Naja into Chang'e is not my favorite. Naja into other characters with CC immune ults, looking at Baskin and Jeff, not my favorite. But here's the deal. Every once in a while, a player transcends that pick and that mathematics. And that's where this comes down to. Cyno is the Naja guy and can outperform the negative matchup.
That's very true. And Cyno electing to go for the speed buff steal because andinster, on the flip side, is respecting this invade. Like, they already know what Splyce is up to. I love this meta game between these two teams. I don't know if they're scrim partners or what, but definitely showing us different stuffs.
Can I just tell you, Anatoly, did you ever know that you're my hero? I am a stickler for semantics. Sometimes I am. But when it comes down to the term the metagame, I hang on to the semantics. The metagame is not, when people are like, is this a meta build? It really just makes me rage. The metagame is truly the game outside of the game. How the players interact with the players and their picks, etc. So the metagame truly is the jungler invading to counter an invade that he had already counted on.
Yep.
So thank you for just using the correct terminology as a negative Nancy of nuance. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Tom. I got you, and I got the viewers at home, man.
Everybody hates me right now. I can tell that. I can tell you chat's already very angry. But I don't care.
Not going to be able to really do much in this duel lane yet again. Splyce on their back foot. And it doesn't matter if it's the Hachiman, because it's all about the Sylvanas. It's JeffHindla that's being aggressive enough to get these swings in, and the Hui out of CycloneSpin is more of this kind of mid-game fighter, not necessarily this early on.
Yeah, not quite this early. Nice, Andy, going for it. How do you pronounce the god that Cyclone's playing?
Oh, it's Hui.
Okay, yeah, I forgot.
I got you.
Thank
As
you.
always. You can ask again.
Why would I ask again?
In case you forget later down the road. I got you.
Okay. Cyno looking for his own speed buff, but keeping his back where he knows it's safe, because he's got to keep his front to where it's not. Andy, I love this. The threat. There it is. Going to teleport to it right there. Speed buff does go down.
Wow.
And it looks like Andy successfully... No,
Yeah, he did. He got his own speed buff. He's not going to pick it up quite yet because he's afraid that right next to the corner is going to be Cyno waiting for that sash stuff.
Also twofold for what it's worth. This is a very intelligent move that I really like seeing players optimize every little bit. It takes about 20 seconds to get from base to where your speed buff is. Even less, actually, because it's about 25 to get from base to where red buff is. So it's less than 20 seconds to really get there. So you can drop the buff on the ground, back to base, buy your stuff, get to the buff in time before it despawns, 30 seconds on the ground, which means you're maximizing your time on map with that speed buff.
Even less with Susanoo having
True,
Jetstream and
yeah.
Stormkata, two movement abilities, which is so valuable to make that play even more just precise.
Yeah, and so the maximization of the buffs is really big. I guess there's a conversation to be had about speed buff helping you get out of the base quicker, but when you're talking about red buff, blue buff, and purple buff, if you're able to drop, if you're back into base after you're doing it, you're able to drop it back and then pick it up. That's the I'll say ideal world, as long as you're able to pick it up before it despawns.
You just got to make sure you know what boots you're currently sitting at. That could be a factor. If you have boots 1 or not even any boots, then it could be riskier to try to kind of make that play happen.
One of my favorite things, you talk about high-level players playing about the small, sweating the small stuff, if you will. I remember talking to a jungler years ago, and this was on the old map for what it's worth, and I've done some of this on the new map myself just to know. Andinster. I wonder how many seconds it takes him to get to the sky, because the amount of seconds it takes for him to get to the fountain for first blood is not all that high. Andy falls down to the hand of Cyno. Nice damage coming out of the best as well. The collapse by Aquarius might be good.
Oh, look at Aquarius. He needs to set up his teammate Best. Right around the corner. It's going to be this beautiful crush out of Baskin.
Beautiful. That was understanding of the characters, both of them.
The shell. The beautiful first pick relic. Aquarius knows what it takes to survive the early laning phase, whether it's actually in the jungle or not.
I loved how both the Chang'e and the Scylla got the hit with the very last bit of the ability. Aquarius gets it with the absolute last moment that Waxing Moon would have hit, and then Baskin even gets it with the lip of the crush.
And the thing was, the stun was only really active for less than a full second because of the purification beads, and if that beads was used preemptively and he doesn't get stunned, that crush never connects from Baskin. But still, a good job of getting Andinster down during his beads being on cooldown.
And you want to keep Susano down. You want to prevent Susano from being able to run rampant and do whatever the hell he wants, because, frankly, that's what's going to happen, is he's going to do whatever the hell he wants. Susano's so quick, so powerful, that his ability to be everywhere all at once is as threatening as it comes.
And the thing was, Best had to time his Golden Apple of Discordia alongside a Strife Unruly Magic. All 3 abilities upon the landing of Andinster during the Nausea ultimate. It's not like a Scylla or a Ra ultimate where you just drop your ultimate on top and then that should be enough to find lethal. And a lot of damage that needs to be confirmed off of Cynosure's Nausea, as Best with the Discordia has a little bit more of a tricky path than Baskin's Scylla.
Splyce so far all tied up here, 6.5 early on. Splyce put up a good fight in game number 1. But Spacestation Gaming, I think Andinster on the Mercury just really was able to sort of take advantage.
And the Mercury pick definitely working out for Spacestation in the first game. But second game, not even a concern. They're picking late game elsewhere. It wasn't even banned away from them to really change up their strategy. They're just relying this time on Baskin to be the carry that they need.
Divios getting chunked here by Aquarius. Divios going back to the more traditional way to handle the healing. The old cage. JeffHindla gonna make Aror stick around just a little bit. Nice moves there for the Spacestation duo lane. No surprise. Right side, ton of action.
Just trying to invade the blue buff yet again. Aquarius is used to this one. Finding the Waxing Moon. Cyno without beads, without any sort of defensive relic. He's going to get pulled back in, but using that ultimate defensively.
The ring. Already on cooldown. Left side, a little bit of action as well. JeffHindla, pretty low. Aror, pretty low. Hunters, not so much. Blue buff invaded. Aquarius. Not able to grab that one just yet. That said, Splyce now looking at the left side jungle. Auror's pretty low. This is dangerous. All right, he wards and backs off. I think that's the right choice.
The thing is, yes, he might be low, but it's a bait tactic. Even if he falls down to 0 health, he has the Sleepy Time passive. CycloneSpin right around the corner. You don't want to fight the Hu Yi in those kinds of wall collapses. You can find the easy double or maybe even a triple bounce.
Kumbhakarna, the Sleepy Time passive. Is that its official name?
I think so.
Sleepy Time. It's very fun. I put you on the spot. I apologize.
About to look it up.
We'll get the important info to you folks back in a moment. Want to know the beautiful thing about internet broadcasting is that there are thousands of people telling us what it's called right now.
It's just sleepy, apparently.
But we don't look at the chat.
It's just sleepy.
It's just
not
sleepy?
even sleepy time.
You're sleepy?
I will be once if it keeps raining like this outside.
I like the rain. Some jazz, a fire, a good book.
Some wine.
Sure. I go sherry. I'm a Frazier fan.
Fair enough.
He's in the bush. You see it? Go back to OU, please. Oh, he's in the bush. Look at him.
Yeah, he's hiding.
I like that. It's one of my favorites.
You gotta hide from your enemies. The way
Gotta
he
hide
was,
from andinster. Making the rotation, the junglers.
andinster has been running from Cyno this whole entire game. It doesn't matter if it's speed or blue buff. It's Cyno trying to set up the plays.
Right now, he's going directly for Aquarius. Kind of tanky as the target, but everyone waiting at the bottom. And Aquaman gonna drown here, TheBest, dunking him underwater. Aror sends an andinster to the sky. There's a shot coming out from Baskin. Not gonna be enough till Aror says it is. JeffHindla now in some trouble. Big shot coming out from Baskin. Cyno, Aror, and Big D all down very low. Divios still on the chase trying to finish off the mage. Can't find it. Baskin's cooldowns are up soon. Jumps into the crush. Has the dash. Has the root as well. Sikkim will do it. Baskin sends the dogs and puts Divios in the pound. 3-2. Splyce.
You could tell that Divios wanted to jump into for the lethal, but if he did, he was guaranteed going to get cleaned up. And Baskin had to make an aggressive play. He preemptively beats any sort of CC that Aror was presented to him. And that's the kind of mindset Baskin goes into these team fights. He thinks on both ends of the spectrum for the lethal execution.
Always got to be thinking about distracted by the pings. CycloneSpin looking for BaRRaCCuDDa, jumping backwards as andinster shows his face as well. Red buff the target for Spacestation Gaming. Cyno is here, has the ring bounce, and unable to go for it.
Not much mana for Cyno. He has to back on off just to redeem it with Assassin's Blessing. Yeah, he could have hit the ring bounce, but no other follow-up.
What I love about this Najah selection, which I think might be a moot point because Cynoshore is Mr. Najah and probably picks this no matter what, but the metagame between these two players, between these two teams, we've seen incessant invades, just consistently. And Najah is a character that makes it really problematic to fight over buffs against because the ring bounce clears the buff and messes you up as an invader or the invadee. Fighting around a camp against Najah is really difficult. And I like this choice to combat a match where both teams are consistently in each other's jungle.
With just so many bounces once you're maxing it out. 8 specifically, so around the red buff, once those 2 small little mana cores fall and only the big one left standing, then you're looking at 8 bounces between 3 targets. So everyone's going to get hit at least 2 times.
Very, very impactful. Slows, protection shred. Don't forget the damage. Huge implications there as Cyno is able to make himself known. 1-0-2 already on the assassin across the way, and it's their 0-2-0. Not quite as successful as his counterpart.
Trying to make something happen around the oracles as CycloneSpin gets that for himself, getting that red vision glow for the next minute, preventing any sort of shenanigans out of Spacestation like they did in the first game. And this is where they could still actually force it. They're the ones that have that I'm a monster. This time around, Splyce, they don't have that I'm a monster or Searing Pain to snatch it away. Their biggest burst damage, honestly, is from Divios' Bird Bomb.
Is it really? No.
For ability-wise, yes.
Isn't Strife Unruly Magic combination really big?
If you can time it, but Divios damage, like base-wise, is also really high. It best needs items to make that more damage currently than Divios at this point in the game.
And what we've seen Splyce do to sort of amplify that has been all in. Cyno goes and brings a player up, and when he returns to the battlefield, there's an Odin, a Discordia, and a Kumbhakarna waiting for him. And that's how they're able to handle this lack of damage, quote, end quote.
Trying to defend the tier 1 mid tower. It's on his last legs, but meanwhile on the left side of the map, BaRRa needs to airstrike away. Gets right through it. Bombs not enough.
Oh, I love the play from Cyclone.
He tried. He had to jump in, so he couldn't jump back out to chase the bird.
Divios stunned out. Look, Aror stunned forever. What is that, 3-second stun?
If that was the third
It was
target.
the third person.
Yeah, so it's going to be 1 second additive.
Oh my goodness. That is the longest.
Yep. And if you don't have any crowd control reduction or previously CC'd for that diminishing returns, you're going to be sleepy for a long time.
You're just sitting there.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there. No
Divios is here around
No
the corner.
response from Spacestation, though.
Doesn't have the blink, but it's going to be a collapse on the tier 1 tower potentially, or just to clear the wave and look for the Gold Fury, positioning themselves around the jungle. CycloneSpin is actually backing,
Interesting.
so not a commit.
I definitely thought this was more about the Gold Fury than not.
Oh no, Divios not at the right spot.
Lined up. Andy does take the kill, so Baskin won't be able to reset. 2 players mezzed out by Aror. Cyno on the run. Does get knocked up. No follow-up damage. Uses the ultimate to get out. The dot!
Not enough. It just fizzled away. It was only the Wisps and the Wrath of Terror. Just barely. He got the heal also from the second ability that worked out well, but Spacestation with a clean pick. I like that andinster was caught in the cage. He surveys the battleground real quick. It's like, where is Aquarius? Dashes towards him, receives the Phantom, and walks away cleanly.
JeffHindla now hit up on the Strife. There's damage. Unruly Apple going to be tossed out towards it. Spacestation Gaming does confirm their own Gold Fury.
The waxing
and a perfect ultimate from Aqua. He's still going to die for it.
Strike. That's all it takes. That is all it takes. Kumbhakarna does a lot of damage if you don't respect it. CycloneSpin going to force Baskin to cancel the back of that tier 1 tower is gone. Tier 2 on the next of the chopping block. Baskin walks forward, avoids Divios entirely.
Does get hit by the Strife. Follow-up damage, Aegis out. Yawn is good. Aurora hits him with the belly bump. Mid lane tier 2 tower about to fall. Aurora doing damage on the back end, along with Cyno. Aurora sneaking in from the jungle, gets the root on a Hindla.
It's a 5-on-3. They got 2,000 gold between those 2 towers as Spacestation stole it away. Splyce still respond with something for themselves.
Right now, with even bigger sights on the horizon. Pyromancer.
They were not going to go for it. The epic uppercut.
I thought they might.
It's so yes, Baskin was dead, but CycloneSpin's a little low. Aurora is about half health, and without too many tank items, you're still worried about 3 members from Spacestation to be able to stop that from happening.
Which one specifically?
Aquarius was dead alongside Baskin, so you're looking at Jeff, BaRRa, and Andy to make that play happen. Typhoon ripping down Fire Giant Pit. Whether or not it's enough for a lethal damage, just a knock-up. Go for this, kill some members that do receive the Fire Giant and strip that away.
That's the key there, and I think a lot of our casual fans at home always have the glory of the steal in mind, but the punishment after the fact, especially when it's a team that's stretching the Fire Giant. By that I mean it's not a guaranteed. If you get the punishment, sometimes that's just as good as stealing the Fire Giant yourself.
Splyce, they got to be questioning themselves after the first game, the way they went for that Fire Giant.
Exactly.
Because not only did they not secure it, it was stolen away, but they got punished immediately after. So Splyce needs to take the same approach that Spacestation did in the first game.
The worst of both worlds.
Be very methodical about every little objective. And they were after that Gold Fury from Spacestation, punishing the black and yellow and getting 2,000 gold in value of towers.
17.5 on the clock. And as these teams battle it out here, very interested to see if Splyce can hang on to this lead. We've amassed a decent one so far. BaRRaCCuDDa! Oh my goodness. Cyclone win. The solo kill is good. I don't even care if Andy beats him up here. CycloneSpin, though, celebrating the solo kill, and what a solo kill it was.
Wow. Those ricochet bounces showing flashbacks of his ability to outbox anybody in the solo lane. It doesn't matter if you're solo in the short lane or the long. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, tier 2 tower, Aquarius trying to run away. JeffHindla caught in the cage, but the rest of Splyce are trying to run.
Divios takes care of Aquarius. TheBest going to be cut up. And CycloneSpin going to die to the tower. Not quite. He spoke too soon. Andy has 10 HP. Cyclone has 10 HP. Tower's got 0. Tagged up. Jumping forward. Andinster in the jungle. Running away. And that looks like that's it.
CycloneSpin had to basic attack all the minions to get the lifesteal, and that's what he was doing. He ate an additional tower shot, knowing that he couldn't escape it anyway. So you might as well get an additional 10 health from those Devil Gloves, just enough to survive.
So right now, Splyce trying to hang on to their lead and doing a great job of growing it even more so. Apologies, brief pause in the action. Aror trying to straighten up things for his team. 8-3 are the kills right now, and Splyce is up about 5,000 gold. They're able to push this forward. They're just sitting there, just 2,000 gold, but a nice swing over there on the right side of the map allows them to do great things. Also, side note, CycloneSpin solo kill. That's what's fun.
It's working out thus far. He's no longer that passive Chang'e. He's taken advantage of the Chang'e out of BaRRaCCuDDa, and really going from a defensive measure to such an aggressive stance is what makes CycloneSpin so scary to really face off, because you never really know when he's going to pop off.
That's the thing. We have a couple of newer fans to the league, and they might not remember CycloneSpin able to just dominate over there in the solo lane, picking weird stuff and doing weird things to the opposition. Ain't nothing weird about this play. Let's take a second look at CycloneSpin toppling the legendary BaRRaCCuDDa. And this, just know your angles, baby, and go right for it. The jump in, the follow-up basic. I mean, what's not to love?
I mean, last game, CycloneSpin was a level 14 Chang'e with red buff. Didn't take a fight against a level 13 Hachiman of BaRRa that didn't have the red buff. This time, he's playing his character to his strengths.
Yeah.
He knows the angles of the ricochet bounce. He finds that beautiful double tap. The basic attacks from this 2-level advantage with red buff. He takes his guaranteed fight. Whether or not somebody comes to clean him up is beyond the fact, but because that was just lights out.
Yeah, intense stuff there coming out from CycloneSpin in general. The rest of the team also performing very highly. Splyce looking clean as a whistle. Right now, hoping they can hang on to their lead as they sort of trudge forward. Right side siege was just complete. Still looking for a Phoenix, but anything's possible, I suppose.
It's all about this Odin pick to help them really siege effectively. Whether Aquarius is there, they're going to force his Phantom every given moment, but that cooldown of the Odin cage so much quicker than the Phantom. If you don't have a second one, then a little bit of cooldown reduction goes a long way to bait out the first one and then go in for round 2.
Let's go in right now in the middle of game number 2 and see where everybody's going to wind up. Splyce still up that 7,000 that we were talking about, and shy of 20 minutes.
Without Fire Giant. Going for the necessary objectives beforehand. Taking their time with that one because obviously they remember what happened in the first game.
Huge lead considering the amount of time in this game. That's really what I'm talking about.
And leaning on the late game, it's going to be onto Baskin this time. Andinster playing Cyno with 3 levels behind from Cyno is not the same compared to the Mercury. Cyno is more of a setup when from behind, looking for the pulls, looking for the knockup from Typhoon, which is all fine and dandy if Baskin is going to continue to hit the shots, especially once more items get completed for this level 16 Scylla.
Baskin up until this point has been hitting those shots. I think I've seen 1 or 2 missed ultimates, but the majority of them have absolutely found a home.
And it's they're avoiding the root from Aror just to keep his Mad Guy's cloak up.
Gold Fury, nice and easy to Splyce, soloed out by CycloneSpin, so that'll help find themselves continuing the lead push. 8,300 gold in the lead.
Splyce are considering sieging that right side of the map. They're posturing around the Fire Giant as if they're going to complete it, but with CycloneSpin just now finishing off the Gold Fury, they're going to figure out what their intentions are. But because they haven't pushed out the waves on the right side, solo lane, it's looking like a Fire Giant attempt.
That's
it's a bait.
It's where the team is. Now, here's the thing. They don't know. Splyce doesn't know where Spacestation is, because if they did, they'd already be killing the Fire Giant. Finally, they catch them on the map. And the call is to go all into the Fire Giant. Divios scared me for a second. I like...
The Bird Bomb steal of destiny. Spacestation switched their character to Divios.
No, that's the moment where it's like, where you just like player instinct.
Yes.
I see the map. I'm the caster. I know what's happening, folks. But then you just see the Bird Bomb out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh,
yeah, he's got his cape on and everything. He's a superhero that Spacestation could have used if that was on their team.
Very true. Very true. Right now, Splyce, they, I don't know if they have a cape, but they're flying towards the finish line here. Aror, half HP, as he tanked the Phoenix for so long.
Beautiful juggle of aggro. Aror taking that just long enough to allow the minions to step in, eliminate the backdoor protection, and with a lot of a split push from Spacestation. They get those 2 towers on the left side, so mitigating some of the bleeding. Still down about 10,000 gold, but honestly, they can lose another Phoenix, maybe even a third one, but as long as they hold on to this game, they're relying on Baskin.
Right now, mid lane will be the focus for Splyce. Not ready to march up that lane just yet, though. Divios wants to go ahead back to base, or excuse me, Aror wants to go ahead back to base. We'll see what itemization he decides to go into. Meanwhile, Pyromancer, the artist formerly known as the
Portal Demon.
I called him Portal Guy the entire time. I'm not kidding. I forgot. I called him Portal Guy from its inception till we said goodbye. He was Portal Guy.
I remember because I think I was casting with you one time, and I'm like, yeah, Portal Guy, Brohan, Smith kind of deal.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
Fire Giant Jr., whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I couldn't recall Portal Demon, but I still regularly mistake Magi's cloak for Magi's blessing. And every once in a while, I'll call it purification.
No one likes change. Who likes change?
Those that don't like paper bills.
That's true. That's why I don't use that either. Just use plastic.
I exist in a world where currency is philosophical, and I just walk into wherever I walk into and demand that they give me
Man, you must have a
sustenance.
lot of influence.
Or dead. JeffHindla goes to the sky. Right now, Cyno taking him out of the combat. Don't know if that's the right target, but I guess when you're ahead this far, totally, it doesn't seem to matter. Over 10,000 gold for Splyce, and the protection shred certainly a big deal.
Andinster finds the damage over time through the jet stream. Cyno is going to be gone. It's going to be a 4-on-4 for the moment. Aquarius healing up. Andinster taking more damage than he bargained for. Left side Phoenix still standing strong, but with BaRRaCCuDDa dead, not for much longer.
Baskin, Andy, Aquarius, the only ones left to play D. Make that just Andy and Aquarius. Splyce headed towards the Titan. Aquarius gonna eat dirt. And Andinster gonna get turned on, burned on. A baker's dozen for Splyce. And they're cooking up another victory here. We're going to a game 3.
Great comeback from Splyce after the way they lost so quickly in game number 1. Yeah, it was about 31 minutes in that first game, but they just lost in the last 4 to 6 minutes. In this second game, though, this was Splyce written all over it. A lot has come to Cyno's point of view, where he was able to catch Aquarius in the early game because of the Phantom. Odin forced the Phantom, so no purification beads, catching him slipping. And then the Odin pick in general, just creating a lot of a zone control around the Gold Fury, or even that tier 2 tower siege, which was so important for Splyce.
And I said it before, I'll say it again. So first of all, I'm just a Naja fan. I think this character is dynamic. But when Cyno has this character, it's a different level.
It is scary
such a pairing.
It is really, really scary. And between these picks and bans, still going for the Chang'e, but I really feel that it was the Giannis pick that won Spacestation the first game, so I'm really surprised they didn't go for it in game number 2.
Either way, did not go in the same direction. You let us know who you think MVP was out there. Where are you leaning?
Honestly, I gotta say a little bit onto, well, the Flash you play, you're gonna give it to CycloneSpin.
Actually, I really liked the way TheBest played in that game.
TheBest did a lot of work, but I gotta give it to Cyno, man.
Yeah.
He put Andinster on the back foot the entire game. Every time we were like looking at Andinster, he was running south towards his own base with Cyno right in front of him.
That's the key. The pace car was Cyno sure. Whether or not he's going to get the MVP, I'm not so sure. Let's toss it down on the desk and break it down.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Totally. Finch and Aggro back here at the desk as we're moving into a game 3. Splyce have done it. They've gotten at least one game, but they got to get one more here, Ryan.
They need to finally learn if they can win a game 3. They haven't done it yet. I don't think they've won a game 3 all season 5. They've been in a lot of them, but they haven't won them. But they deserved this win, man. This was an impressive showing from Splyce. The show that you cannot give them that little bit. You can't just accept little losses over and over and over and over again at each engagement and expect to be able to come back and win at the very end, because Splyce controlled it very, very well. And this is now Spacestation, and this is kind of what we were waiting for, right? And in my mind, Spacestation was like, eventually someone's going to beat the hell out of us for being willing to take Chang'e and Sylvanas into Odin. Now I'm curious to see what their response will be. to how well Splyce just played against that.
I'm curious to see what the response is going to be as well, Ryan. And we just heard it. The headsets, Aror selected by you all in Mixer Chat as the MVP. And I got to agree with you. He had a great game, especially early on. Did a great job playing aggressive, just like this, chasing down kills that the rest of the team maybe couldn't have stepped forward to find. Aror did a great job kind of facilitating on this Kumbhakarna. And not just facilitating, I think he was like, what, 4-0-5, something like that? I mean, Aror was getting the kills done.
Yeah, he had a great score line, and this was really critical. After losing the Gold Fury to Spacestation, be able to chase down, get that kill onto Aquarius, open up the map after that. I think that CycloneSpin would also have been very well deserving of that MVP. I think that solo kill against BaRRaCCuDDa just kept the momentum in Splyce's favor. It was right as things could have kind of stagnated and started going back towards Spacestation. Instead, Splyce gets to keep their foot on the gas pedal. Cyclone had a great game, finished at 5-0 near the top of the player damage charts. He continues to impress in the ADC role again, and I think that's the biggest difference for Splyce. Besides the off the field stuff, living together, getting better chemistry with one another, I think that CycloneSpin has just played better since the summer split. A lot of that, I'm sure, is due to him playing on East Coast ping and not having to worry about that on the West Coast, having to play an ADC role, probably the role most dependent on landing everything you throw out. Him being on the East Coast, man, he's been accurate, that's for sure.
And it's such a big deal for Splyce if they are able to have CycloneSpin get back to that level. I mean, when AFK, Envious, whatever you want to call them, when they were great, it was because Cyclone was great, right?
Yes.
You don't want CycloneSpin on your team to be a fine hunter.
No.
You want him on your team to be the guy that's getting it done and making plays like that against BaRRaCCuDDa in the hunter lane to hope.